Last Dreamforce I presented about this Angular-ifying of Visualforce pages, which is based on Angular 1, and how you can use multiple strategies to develop single page applications in Visualforce using the same. Many of you are, I think, still using Angular a lot, and they requested me to give a more detailed video demo or something of the same. So first of all, I'm sorry I can't get the chance earlier to do the same, but I'm at little bit peace now, so I'm thinking like, why don't I do a quick recap of this thing? So this session basically covers up ways to develop Angular apps in Visualforce. And let me go back to the slides. So these are my Dreamforce slides. So I don't need safe harbors and all these things. So what we are going to see here is what is the Google's Angular style guide, how they recommend to develop basically Angular apps, what should be the app structure, file structure, and all that. We will see a sample Ionic template app which we will use for the demo, and then we will see how we can do different things for the single page apps, like we can develop it using a static resources, using VF pages, then we can use mavens made, aside.io, and Welkin suite, and there will be lots of live demos. Moving ahead, let's talk about Angular style guide, which you can find here. So it says that you should have this kind of high level structure where you have your app CSS, JSS, JS. These are the controlling files which basically loads our UI router and all those type sort of things. Then you have test cases if you are paid by client to write those. Mostly they don't. And then there are components like you can have a foo component, and then its directives, its test cases, and its services. And then there is an index HTML file which basically loads app.js, and then it basically connects everything together. Another approach which Google again suggests is you basically have app CSS, and then for each component you have its own folder, its own test cases, directives confined in that folder only. And again, index.html is the driver file which loads everything up. So to take I mean a good easy step, on all of you can install Ionic on your machine. You can just do npm install Ionic, it will get you there, and then you can just type this thing Ionic start my app tabs, which will create something called my app, which is a simple tab apps which creates an iPhone style tabs on your HTML, and they are really styled gorgeously and they look good. So this is the structure which Ionic follows. So they have a CSS folder which is having style.css, some PNG images, index.html. Then there are these files for app controller and services. Then there are Ionic related libraries like there are scripts and all those things. And then there are templates. So this thing, if you see this guy is having a template for dash, which is the dashboard page. Then there is something for chat, for account, and for chat detail. And then there is a tabs.html which covers everything up. So those are the templates. So moving quickly, how we develop such kind of multi-page app in Salesforce. So let's take an overview of this app first. So here is my iPhone simulator running, and if you see, this is a Visualforce page, and which is having this URL here like /apex and this thing. So this page basically shows that there are two tasks which are open, and again it's a multi-tab or multi-page, you can say, a multi-view single page app. And I can flip between these views, it will load up my tasks. I can click here to go into more details, it will take me there. But to stay up to the demo, let's see, we have this event thing. If we hit edit, it will take me to the edit of event. Similarly, the dashboard, it shows a high level overview of what tasks are open to complete, which again connects via Angular UI router altogether. So these are all the things you can complete the task from here, like if you check this thing out. So that's the kind of app which is developed in Visualforce, and we are going to see how it's structured. So again, it's a basic Angular and Ionic app. It's a single page. It's having multiple tabs, dashboard, tasks, events. So I've recorded this video and slides to give you good idea about what the app is about to do, so that you can see offline. So let's see how we have structured it in Salesforce terms. So I'm sure many of you who are in Angular with Visualforce, you must know Remote TK. It's a good component which makes easy to use remoting calls and even REST APIs with Salesforce, which is developed by Pat Peterson. So I have that included here. There is a full component included here. I have ionic lib included here, which is the shared metadata, which usually doesn't changes. It is a remote TK controller, which basically provides easy way to make different queries and all those things via SQL, and it's saving you from writing Apex and its test cases a lot. Coming to the approach one, so Raja Rao DV, he basically blogged some time back about an approach in which he created a series of posts in which he was showing how to create similar single page apps. What Raja was, I think, trying to do, or his approach one was to have basically a single my app index HTML page, which will be the key page which is loaded, and then individual views. They are basically different Visualforce pages, and then any of the static resources for scripts, they are created separately. So if you see for a given single page app, there are 4 partial VF pages and 3 additional static resources. So let's see how does that looks in real life. So here I have the index page. Let's see where it went. So here it is. So we have the stock type applied and all those uh, classic stuff. I have loaded the ionic lib here, and if you see, these are the classic script includes, like the 3 app.js, controller.js, and my services, and then this is the standard ionic code. To give you a quick overview of the template, so these are very simple templates which draws a dashboard. So this view is the homepage view which you see here, like this is the dashboard view. You can quickly relate that you have task count to complete, task to complete, you have event count, meetings today, you have meetings tomorrow. So these are the mini templates. Similarly for events, for tasks, and for tabs page. So this is the page below the key page which holds everything together, right? So the good part is it's a little easy to prototype. You don't need any fancy editor. You just start with your typical Visualforce dev console and you can go, but it's a little bit cluttered approach. You can see there are so many files here, and also have a look at app.js here, and let me beautify it a bit. So it again is using UI routing, which is relying on this kind of URL formations, which we can surely fix, but it is sort of risky and not that good. So this approach works well. It can get the job done, but imagine if your org is having multiple single page apps, then it will be too much of metadata to maintain, right? So these are the good parts. It's good for prototyping. At practice, it has less conflicts. If there are multiple developers, they can create different views in parallel because we are not creating a single zipped static resource having all the templates and everything in the org. So it's that's why it's good for rapid prototyping. Nothing, I think, much apart from that. Bad parts, of course, performance will be slow because it's loading too many VF pages, too many static resources, and you really need a good file naming convention in the org. Otherwise, it's quite easy to lose, like which partial file of CSS, JS, or HTML template is associated with which single page org. So what are our other options? So if you, I think, are in Salesforce development, you must know Mavens Mate. So Mavens Mate offers a very nice way to basically works on static resources, and it is called resource bundle in Mavens Mate terminology. So with Mavens Mate, we just have one VF page and one static resource to cover all, which was previously 7 in number. We have 7 supporting resources, and imagine if the app is complex, you might have 40, 50 static resources and VF pages to support a single page app, a single Visualforce page. So this is really good. How it structures is shown here, like we have a resource bundle folder, which I will show you. And then that's how it is grouped. All the JS is in a subfolder called JS, and all templates are here. So let's see how we can create a resource bundle, or do we have it? So if you have Mavens Mate installed, so you can say create resource bundle. it will ask you which of your resource bundle you want to use. So I have created a similar copy of this app of 3 times, one with Visualforce, one with Mavens, and one with upcoming aside editor. So if I select this one and hit enter, so it will do something. Like if you notice, there is a sudden flick here and it did something, and what it did is here. So you see that that's the same thing which we have seen before, like with the multiple files, but it's the static resource. I can basically have my app.js, which is more structured, controller and everything, and then it's a normal HTML page which I can see and edit, and without any issues of syntax highlighting, and everything else is mostly same. And then let's take a look at this page. So this is the Visualforce page. Again, I have remote TK and all the standard components included. And that's how I'm just loading out all the static resources here. And I only specified an app base for the my Mavens app, which I am using inside here to just refer out any templates. So that makes it a little bit flexible between Visualforce and my static resources nested JavaScript files to communicate with each other, right? So this is really good, and you must be wondering how about making any changes. So let's add a comment quickly and see how it goes. Let's say hello. So if I save it, then I can basically install the package bundle back as well. What you need to do is you can say deploy resource bundle. It will ask you, okay, you have this one open. As soon as you do it, it will start zipping up this thing behind the scene, and it will basically deploy it on your server. So that's it. It's really quick, and it's, I think, very convenient way to work on single page apps. So I'm sure you must have realized the big difference here. We are not cluttered like in multiple files. We are working in a single static resource. And if you have hired a front-end engineer, he will love this way because he will go crazy if you ask him to develop a single page app like this. So that's pretty intuitive for any front-end engineer to work on Angular like this. So thanks for Joe Ferraro and Maven Smith team to provide such an awesome support. And let's move back to our slides. So good parts. I mean, it's a familiar structure for web developers for sure. We have very limited metadata. It will be always two files, like one VF page and one related static resource. Side effect is if you are not following multiple org strategy, then it could be possibility that if two developers are working on two JS files or two views, they will run on each other's toes and will kill each other possibly. So that's the issue. Maven Smith speeds are sometimes slow for big static resources, and that can be turned down. So I personally like aside.io in terms of save speeds a lot, but I think Maven Smith is doing good now. This was an issue I think 1 year back when I find aside better, but I think we recently saved a static resource by bundling it, and it was really quick. So coming to aside.io, if you love browser-based editors, so this is something really cool. So let's take a quick overview of same thing here. So it's just like Maven's Mate, you just need two resources or two metadata components, the page and the static resource, and you have the similar structure here. So let's take a quick demo here only. So if you go to aside.io, you can log in, and then you can open a zip resource like this, which is shown here, and then see the same thing. You just save it and it automatically gets the thing done for you. If you are like saving like this, it just says updating static resource, and within seconds it does the magic, and then you can go back to your app and you are good. So aside is good if you are a browser lover and you are, again, app structure is simple. App structure, I mean simple, it doesn't have fonts, images and all those sort of things. It's just having CSS files and basically JS files and HTML files. Then it's good. But otherwise, if your static resource or the Angular app is really heavy, then I think it's better to stay on Mavens. So this again is 1 year old, so I found still love aside for its save speeds, but I think Maven is doing good job now. So it's again having a familiar structure for developers to use, especially front-end engineers. Visualforce developers will be possibly fine with approach one, like to have multiple pages, but front-end engineers, they will love it. Again, this is bad part is to have a simple static resource or zip resource structure in which you don't have complex images and multiple different font files and all that. That's where Amina side will possibly trouble you. And again, if you have multiple developers who are working on same static resource or same single page app and you're not following a multiple developer org strategy, so this could be tricky. Similarly, Welkin Suite, I will not cover it in the demo. It's also for Mac users now. This is again a 1 year old slide. So they, I think, recently released a version for the same. So you can use the same thing like Mavens Mate here. Similar kind of app structures are allowed. So I'm still open for any questions, and I have shared already the GitHub repo with all the source code. You can easily deploy it using force.com migration tool. All the related resources are available on the GitHub repo also. You can see my slides, and possibly I will link this video recording also. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer your questions. Hope you like this video. Thank you.